You ever live a double life so complicated that even breathing feels like lying? That was me. For 8 long, agonizing months, I was living two realities, one in my marriage and one in my career. And when those two worlds finally collided, everything I thought I knew exploded. By the way, where are you watching from? And what time is it right now? I love seeing where all of you are tuning in from. So, I'm Jenna, and I'm a registered nurse in a top-tier private hospital. You know the kind. Polished marble floors, crisp uniforms, and egos so big you can feel them hovering down hallways. I've always loved being a nurse. The long shifts, the adrenaline, the connection with patients. I was good at it. Respected. Trusted. Until my husband became one of those patients. Let me explain. Mark and I had a secret. We were married, legally, passionately, absolutely in love, but no one at work knew, not a soul. That was the deal. See, Mark was a neurosurgeon in the same hospital. And yes, before you jump to conclusions, he wasn't my boss, we didn't meet inappropriately, and we were both fully consenting adults. But the hospital had this super strict policy about relationships between staff in the same department. And if you were caught, especially in a leadership role like Mark's, you could be suspended or even fired for conflict of interest. So, we kept it quiet. Really quiet. No rings, separate cars. We'd kiss goodbye behind the laundry chute in the back of the ER. Our friends didn't know. Our families thought we were taking things slow, and HR? HR thought we were casual acquaintances at best. But then, Mark got sick. At first, we thought it was a bad flu. Fever, exhaustion, aches. He was working crazy hours, so we assumed he just burned out. But then he collapsed in our kitchen one night. Collapsed. Like straight to the floor. I called 911 in a panic, and he was brought, of all places, into our hospital. The moment I saw him wheeled in on a stretcher, pale and barely conscious, I wanted to scream. But I had to act like it was just another day. I had to pretend like I didn't know him beyond professional courtesy. My colleagues swarmed around him, and I had to stand there, stiff and silent, watching the man I loved moan in pain while a nurse I trained inserted his IV. He was admitted for tests, and I tried to remove myself from his care, but the charge nurse put me on his floor. She said, "You're the best with complex cases. Just keep it professional." If only she knew. The diagnosis? A rare autoimmune condition that was attacking his nervous system. His motor skills were deteriorating. He was in constant pain. And eventually, he lost control of his hands. A neurosurgeon who couldn't hold a scalpel. He was devastated. Angry. Humiliated. But worst of all, he was lonely. Because in that hospital, I couldn't even hold his hand. I'd visit during my breaks, after scanning the halls for anyone who might see me. I'd slip inside his room, kiss his forehead, and wipe his tears. He tried to joke about it. Called me nurse mistress, but there was a crack in his voice that scared me. Then came Miranda. Miranda was a new nurse. Young, gorgeous, way too eager to impress. I noticed pretty early on that she had a thing for Mark. Even before he got sick, she'd laugh too loud at his jokes in the break room, accidentally bump into him in the supply closet. Mark brushed it off, but once he became a patient, she became clingy. She'd sit by his bed, brushing crumbs off his sheets, whispering jokes, bringing him coffee, and I had to pretend like it didn't bother me. Like I wasn't silently screaming every time I saw her reach out and touch his arm. But then it got worse. One night I came into his room and found her sitting on his bed, shoes off, flipping through a magazine like she belonged there. I raised an eyebrow. "Don't you have rounds?" She looked at me like some nuisance nurse. I just wanted to check on Dr. Lawson. We had a great talk earlier. I wanted to punch her. Instead, I waited until she left and asked Mark what the hell was going on. He laughed. She's harmless. You know you're the only one I want. But I could tell he liked the attention. Who wouldn't? He was stripped of his power, his dignity, and here was a beautiful woman treating him like he was still somebody important. And that's when things started to unravel. Whispers started in the nurse's station. Miranda and Dr. Lawson are getting close. She's always in his room. One of the interns even said, I think they're hooking up. I wanted to scream, he's my husband! But I couldn't. If I did, Mark would lose his job, and I might lose mine. So I kept quiet. I swallowed the rumors like bitter pills and kept showing up for work. Until the day I walked in and found them laughing together, his hand over hers, and I snapped. I slammed the chart down. You need anything, Dr. Lawson? He looked up, startled. No, Nurse Davis, I'm good. The way he said my last name like I was a stranger, I felt something in me crack. I stormed out and cried in the stairwell. And I realized this secret marriage was slowly killing me. I confronted him that night at home. Do you want her? He was silent. Mark, do you want her? He looked at me, and for the first time in our marriage, he didn't answer. He didn't say no. I moved out the next day. I requested a transfer to another unit. I stopped visiting him. 3 weeks passed. My heart was shattered. I lost weight, couldn't sleep. I even considered quitting nursing altogether. And then I got the call. Mark had coded. They brought him back, but barely. He was in ICU. And he'd been asking for me. I rushed to the hospital, ignoring the stares. I ran into his room, and he whispered, I'm sorry. I cried so hard I couldn't breathe. We talked for hours. He confessed everything. He'd never cheated, but he let Miranda flirt because it made him feel alive again. He hated the lie we were living, hated how it hurt me. And then he asked me something I wasn't expecting. He said, tell them the truth. Tell them you're my wife. My heart stopped. Are you sure? He nodded. I'd rather lose my job than lose you. So I did. I told HR. I told my supervisor. I told the board. There were hearings, investigations. Miranda tried to spin a whole story about me being jealous and unprofessional, but we had the truth on our side. In the end, I was put on leave for 2 weeks. Mark resigned before they could fire him, and we moved across the country to start fresh. He's better now. Not fully recovered, but stable. He teaches online med students and volunteers at a free clinic. And me? I'm still a nurse. Still doing what I love. But now, I wear my ring. Proudly. I'll never live in hiding again. Because no job is worth losing the person you love. Not even the one you worked your whole life for. So, what would you have done if you were me? Would you have kept the secret? Or risked it all to tell the truth? Let me know in the comments.